In this segment, Chef Weber will demonstrate how to make Spritz cookies. The recipe yields 4 dozen half-ounce cookies. Ingredients include 8 ounces unsalted butter softened, 4 ounces granulated sugar, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1 egg, and 10 ounces cake flour sifted.
We will be preparing the traditional Spritz cookie, which is an excellent high-volume cookie for holiday times due to its production, which is normally referred to as either a pressed cookie or a bagged cookie. My ingredients today are cake flour, which lends tenderness to the cookie as opposed to all-purpose or bread flour, unsalted butter, granulated sugar, whole eggs, vanilla extract, and also kosher salt. The vanilla could be replaced with almond extract, should you choose, or with some other type of extract such as orange or any type of a zest. It's going to start out with creaming the butter, and I'll be utilizing a KitchenAid with a paddle attachment. The butter is soft and at room temperature. And I will go ahead and add the sugar in the inception and go ahead and cream it to a nice, fluffy, lemon yellow color. Very important in this recipe that we fully combine the butter and the sugar and cream it. It helps us to deposit it properly. I'm going to be utilizing a disposable pastry bag with a star tip. There are also pressed cookie molds for this that are a tube that have different stencils with a little hammer that you can push down the cookie and deposit them that way. Typically on top of the Spritz, there's a maraschino cherry, almonds, some type of a garnish such as sprinkles, but they can also be delicious just plain. Important note is that we're going to be baking not on parchment, but on a nice flat cookie sheet because of the fact of the high proportion of fat or butter in the ingredients, and we want to make sure that they spread evenly on the hot pan. I'll be baking at roughly 325 to 350 to light golden brown. I want to make sure that I rotate my cookie sheet and get a nice even color on this. I'll go ahead and add my extract. And about halfway through, I want to make sure that the butter hasn't climbed up the hook and that I evenly scrape it down so I'm getting a uniform product when I'm creaming the butter and the sugar. Particularly critical in this cookie that we don't have any clumps of butter because it'll make it difficult to go through the star tip. You can cream at a fairly high rate until you add the flour, but there's an inert ingredient in flour called gluten, even in cake flour. We want to make sure that once we start to add that, we don't overbeat the cookie batter so the cookies are tough. Right now in the oven, I have some lovely Spritz cookies actually browning to the exact color that I want. So once this batter is done and I've demonstrated how to deposit them, we'll take the cookies out of the oven. Begin by adding a small amount of flour. Add your eggs. Your salt. And begin finishing off with the remaining flour. The salt is not a necessary item for the cookie, as it is in bread baking to inhibit the yeast. So if you wish, you could omit the salt. It's a matter of personal preference as far as being a pastry chef or a chef. And again, I don't want to overwork this dough. So I'm going to scrape it off of the hook and deposit it into the piping bag. This dough does not need to be chilled, which makes it an excellent candidate for a rapid production dough. However, the shelf life of many of these butter cookies is short. 1 day at best, 2 days if they're stored very tightly wrapped or in some type of a container such as a Lexan with a type snap-fitting lid. Usually after the second day, they don't tend to taste as well or as crispy. So as opposed to a drop cookie as chocolate chip, which has a longer shelf life. And the batter's done. It's nice and creamy and smooth. And I'm going to go ahead and take my parchment bag, fold down the corners into a C around my hand, which acts like a little depositor. I'm going to take all of the batter because this is a fairly small batch. Once it's in the bag, I want to give the bag a little snap, but over the bowl in case we lose some of the product, which is doubtful, but just to be safe and clean. Then pull the bag together in accordion effect and push that batter down the bag. You may have to open it up if you get a little bit of air pocket, because it is a fairly firm batter. And the warmth from your hands helps move that batter around in the bag and make it pliable. Twist the bag. The direction that you turn is really a matter of personal preference. Traditionally, the batter is piped and then brought upward. Now when you pipe, you really want to be careful I'm right-handed, so I want to make sure that I'm pushing with my right hand and not using my left hand at all. The left hand is for driving only and for steering the bag. So if you need to, in the initial stages of practicing with your bag, choose your favorite hand, and then if you need to, put your other hand behind your back till you learn the proper piping technique. This hand really only serves to steady, and also you'll note that I have the bag under my hand rather than my hand over where it blocks my view. So it's underneath where I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and continue and just finish demoing these to show you how to deposit them. And boy, I smell my cookies right now, so I think I'm going to pull them out of the oven. You'd finish depositing these. There's no need to refrigerate them. They go directly from being piped into the oven, and that's another advantage for production, that they're very quick. Beautiful. Here they are. Golden brown, slightly blonde on the inside. You don't want to have them completely brown or a hazelnut color. And of course on the bottom, a little bit hot, but they're beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous, perfect for the holidays.